Good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter when you may be catching this particular broadcast. Out to V's Pelzer here, the voice coach. And man, whew, what a morning it is. What a morning it is. I am super excited. Good morning, good morning. I am running off of about 4 hours of sleep. Not four, 4 hours of sleep because and it ties right into what I'm talking about this morning. It's crazy. Like, I hope that this message will bless you simply by showing up, but it'll bless you even more when you take action on what it is that I'm talking about this morning. Like, I need you to have that understanding. And so, y'all know that I'm an introvert for one. So I'm not always the person that's the loudest in the room. I'm not always at the front of the room. I'm usually at the back of the room. I'm usually the person behind the scenes. I'm the encourager. I'm the motivator. I am the person, even though I speak on stages, even though I podcast, even though I have 15 books published, all of these things, but I'm usually the person behind the scenes, right? And today, this part of repositioning for success is all about your consistency. Y'all about to catch this. It's all about your consistency because your consistency matters more than you'll ever understand. And so here's what happens. I am someone who I am very consistent in who I am. I'm not showing up one way on one platform and another on another. I'm not literally like I'm not doing that. I'm not perpetrating fraud. I've never done it. I've been very consistent in who I have been for the good, after high school. Once I hit adulthood, you kind of get into your own of wanting to be who you are. There's some times where you may go and slip up and um fall into being who somebody else wanted you to be, but there's something deep on the inside of you that you consistently do certain things. And so last night I woke up out my sleep. I don't even know what woke me up, like 12 o'clock, and somebody was live that I follow on Periscope. So I go over to listen to the broadcast. And when I tell you I was blessed, beyond blessed by what happened last night, the person sowed a seed into me. And it's crazy because I don't I don't ask. I don't know how many of you can really like understand where I'm coming from. I don't come on here begging people for help and support. I don't come on asking for help. I don't come on. That's never been me. I don't I don't come on giving out links and always selling you something. Like, that's never been me because I'm consistent in being a servant leader. And I believe that when I come live, I'm serving. Now you may catch somebody else, and that's not their judge, that's not their mindset. That's fine. Everybody is going to be different. But as for me in my house, I'm a servant leader. And that means that when I literally everything that I do, everything I put my hands on, I always see service in it. And last night I go into the broadcast, and man, woo, it was unbelievable. So the person asked me for my cash app and sold into me, and it was the matter that they sold like crazy. And then somebody else sold into me, and I was just like, oh my goodness, God, you always understand that God tells you you're good seed, and you're good ground. And it's interesting because you'll always have people who will try to attempt to make you feel as though you're not good ground because of what they saw in you. Y'all better catch this. But it should not deter you from being who you are just because they don't see it in you. I don't know if y'all caught that. It shouldn't deter you from being who you are and being consistent in who it is that you're supposed to show up and be, just because they don't see what that means. They don't see the value in it. So I'm going to tell you why. So I go ahead, I do this whole, I go in, all I'm doing is, I'm just listening in. And he calls me by name. Well, first of all, when he realizes who it is, he tells me, you know what? I want to sow into you. Send me your Cash App. So I put my Cash App up on the screen. And he's just speaking like it's crazy because he said, I asked God for someone for a project that he's doing. He asked God for someone with a specific anointing to come and be attached to it. Morning, Michael. Hey, Patricia. He prayed for somebody specifically to be attached to it. And he said when he saw who I was, he saw the oil anointing on me and the Joseph anointing. So I'm just like, I'm sitting there, I'm boohooing. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning, y'all. It's past, y'all know the unicorn don't be up at 12 o'clock at night. The unicorn is not up at 2 in the morning. I am asleep at like 9. So I go, okay, man. All right, I'm listening in. And I'm gonna tell you what really shifted it for me was when he said, the person that you are, the anointing that you have, you've been sowing into people and they did not value what you were sowing into them. y'all better catch this. You better come on, Michael. He said they did not value what you were sowing into them. They did not value who you were. And so literally he said they said one thing to you, but their actions said something different. Oh my goodness. I was in tears last night. My eyes are still probably red and puffy. I was in tears. And it's through consistency. I never sat on the phone with him and told him about he spoke about business. He said you have oh my goodness. He said you have 2 businesses that you are thinking about doing, but you have not moved in them full 100% because you've been waiting. You think you don't have the people that you need. He said, move in that. The God is saying to move. Whew. He said it. He said you have to, and listen, and I do. Oh my goodness. Everything he said was so on point. Michael, when I tell you the tears was just flowing, I went up in tongues, the tears is flowing. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, y'all. This is not my time where I'm normally awake. This is not my time where I'm normally up. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. And so I'm sitting and I'm just like, okay, God. All right. And when he said, he said, you are someone who knows how to put things together behind the scenes. And people didn't value that. Yo, I'm done. Like him sewing into me. I'm done. Like it was crazy, but it tuned into what we were talking about this week. We're repositioning your mind for success, and I'm going to tell you why. Oh, I want y'all to catch this. I want you to catch this so bad because it is your consistency that shows up in the moment when you need a blessing. It is your consistency that shows up in the moment when you are looking for your harvest. It is your consistency that shows up with the blessing that you need in the moment that you need it. It is your consistency. And so I was in tears because he spoke to, like, something broke last night, and it broke from me being fearful of really going all in and serving. Like, I serve, I give above and beyond, I over deliver in everything that I do, and I do it at such a high capacity that my team, the people that I have on my team right now, they have to pull back the reins on me at times because I'm just that person who over delivers. And I want to serve. I want to see people moved, and not just moved emotionally. I want to see you moved financially. I want to see you moved relationship wise. I want to see you moved in your mindset, in your body. I want to see you moved in your finances. And I do it at such a capacity, and I never ask for help. Y'all never know when a bill needs to be paid. Y'all never know when when kids is going without. Y'all never know when y'all never know the things that go on behind the scenes. And listen, I had to learn. This going to bless somebody. This is going to break something for somebody. I had to learn how to serve even in my lack. I don't know if y'all caught that. I had to learn to serve even in the moments of sacrifice. Even in the moments of sacrifice, I had to learn to serve. So people looked at me and would see me still do my broadcast. They would still see me do my podcast. They would still see me go to speaking events and show up, and did not know that I was showing up in my sacrifice. I was showing up in my lack. I was showing up. And at moments, I had moments where I showed up to speak. And I said, okay, I'm going to go. Oh, I'm not going to cry. Jesus. I had moments where I showed up to speak at events where I was not getting paid to speak, where I had to pay for my travel, I had to pay for my hotel, I had to pay for food, and I had just enough. And I would say I would go and spend time at the airport because I did not have money for another night at a hotel. I hope this is catching y'all. I hope it is. I served in my lack. I served in the moments where things were falling apart for me personally. And I served my way through. Ah, when you see service as a way of praise, you will serve your way through. I don't know who's gonna catch that. I don't know who that was for. When you see service as a way of praise, then you will learn to serve your way through. I don't show up 100% with everything in place. I don't show up 100% with everything perfect, but you need to understand that I had to show up because I was serving my way through. I was serving my way out of lack. Mm, come on. Come on. Come on. Serving my way out of lack, serving my way out of not having enough, serving my way. And even before I got here, I was serving my way out of lack. I would go to church and serve when I didn't have food in my home, and food would show up at my door. I would go and I would serve, and I did not know where I was going, how I was going to pay for my bills. I would go and I would serve, and I would literally go home, and my children would have holes in their shoes, and somebody would buy my children shoes. I would go and I would serve, and we got such to a point where we think that our serving is in vain, and your serving is not in vain. Your serving is not in vain. And so I got to come to you today and say that your consistency matters. I have women who look at me and go, how is she still going? Even after, how is it years later and we've seen other people fall off by the wayside and she's still going? It's because I served my way through in the midst of the hardest times. And I've had people just say, what's your cash app? I've had people just say, what I've served my way through. And it's the hardest thing to explain at times because people treat service, with not the respect that it deserves. Come on. They treat service with less respect. I've had people tell me that my stuff was cheap. I've had people tell me that nobody's going to go and want to sign up for my stuff because they no, because your stuff is cheap. But then they go and they lessen their prices in order to get more people to sign up. I've had people tell me who are you supposed to be serving? How are you supposed to be serving? What seed are you supposed to be selling? I'm selling, serving. What seed are you supposed to be sowing? And as he was just speaking last night, that thing, I can't tell y'all how much it shifted everything on the inside of me because it showed me that my serving was not in vain. It was a reminder your serving is not in vain. And when I tell you that he spoke to people literally taking my serving and saying one thing to me and doing something completely different. And he said that literally, that's what I kept hearing God say, that your serving is not in vain. Your consistency created this. Some of you start and stop and start and stop and start and stop. And you stop because of the pain. Uh, you stop because the money isn't coming in consistently. You stop because you don't like what somebody did to you. Somebody did something that took money out your household. It took food out your children's mouths. And so it made you stop. But because you stopped, the person that you were supposed to bless didn't get their blessing because you stopped in a moment where you were supposed to be serving your way through or sowing into something. You didn't do it out of fear because you said it was my last. You didn't do it because it was your last. I think about Job. I think about Job laying in his bed, and I'm sure he was racked with pain, emotional pain, physical pain. And in that moment, he was still able to pray for his friends. He went through some things. He lost everything. And some of us, we lose, and that's where we are. We're in that moment where we're just laying in bed and we're trying to figure things out, and we've lost it all, and we don't see, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. There's only fear and frustration and pain. And to look around you and listen to people ridicule you even in your lowest moment, and then to be able to say a prayer over somebody, to be able to speak a blessing over someone, to be able to sow into somebody, even if it is your last. You do not realize that it leaves your hand, but it does not leave your life. It leaves your hand, but it does not leave your life. It is a seed that is sown. And so when I've come in the moments of being completely transparent, it's been a seed that was sown. When I've come in the moments where I was heartbroken, when I've come in the moments and literally I looked and chaos was around me and I still showed up, it was a seed being sown. And he said last night that the harvest was coming from those seeds sown. It is your consistency. It is your consistency that will matter most. Because some of you are like the woman that only had the one, that only had a few mites to give. It is your showing up and your giving that matter. For some, it is that you are that woman and that's all you have. That's it. For some, all you have is your words. All you have is your poetry. All you have is your time. All you have, for me, there was years where I could not even get a job. Guys, I've applied for job after job after job. There was years where I could not even get a job and I still showed up and served. That's all I had. I didn't have money to tithe. I didn't have the money to go on the trips for the events and send my kids on trips, and I didn't have that. And so I couldn't send them, but they did not go without. So people would bless them and pay for their space and Even in the midst of moments where I didn't have, somebody would show up. Come on. It's that seed. Somebody would show up. And in the moments when I did have, I paid it forward. And I would be paying for my kids to go on trips and other kids to go on trips. When I had the money, I would pay it forward and I would sow into people's businesses. I buy books from people just so I can sow into what y'all not y'all not understanding. I buy books from people just to sow into the business that they have, even if the book wasn't for me. And then I've given the book away. This is going to break something for somebody. And I don't know who needs it, if it's somebody you know, if it's you, but your consistency is going to create the opportunity that you've been praying for. It's going to break something. Your serving is going to break something. And so when he said last night for me to move forward with these two businesses and that what I need is coming, I said, okay, God, because I was nervous. I said, okay, God. I mean, even down to, he spoke even to because literally the two businesses that he's talking about, I have them fully planned out. Structure, how they will serve, the pricing, everything is planned out. It's planned out. And I didn't move because I said I wanted it to I wanted to show up with them in a certain type of way, and I wanted them to flow in a certain type of way, and so I could not move just yet. I When I tell you that thing shifted and it knocked me into a whole nother. I couldn't get back to sleep. I was up praying. Things were just being downloaded. I couldn't get nothing done. I was just like, it was such a moment of freedom because what and I don't know. I won't tell y'all business. I just tell mine. When you've gone through a place of serving and you've been hurt while serving, I don't know if it's speaking to anybody else, but it's speaking to me. When you've been hurt while serving, you don't serve at the same capacity for the next person that you serve. You don't. Come on. Exactly. You serve at a much less capacity after you've been hurt. And healing has to take place. And it can be, and I'm just, we just gonna be honest, it can be church hurt, it can be business hurt, it can be relationship hurt, it can be just hurt. We serve at a different capacity when we are carrying that pain. And so through 2019, I was carrying that pain. I was carrying that pain through 2019. But it was because there was something that I had to get. There was a place I had to get to. And once I got to that place, then I could shift. I had to get to a certain place. I had to go through some things. There had to be some renewing of my own mind. There had to be some repositioning for me. So what I'm bringing to you in this series is not something that I read. Come on. It's not something that I heard. This is what I've lived. And so I had to go through some repositioning within myself, within my brand, within my mind, in order for me to get to a point where now I could serve at an even higher capacity. Some of you have been called to serve at a higher capacity. There's things that you have that you're supposed to be putting out into the world, and it has a higher price tag. It has a higher level of reach. You're going to be traveling. You're going to be talking to people that are at a higher level than what you've been talking to before. But because of that pain, you haven't been able to step fully into it. And so I pray that today is going to be the day that that breaks off of you. Today will be the day that that breaks off of you. Come on. Exactly. Marquita said it's something about when you position yourself, God will open doors of exceeding greatness, reaping the harvest of sowing. And when you allow that healing to take place, when you go through that repositioning is happening this week. So again, I don't know who this is for, because like I said, I'm not telling you something that I read. I'm not telling you something that I heard about, something that I heard on somebody else. No, I'm telling you what I've lived. And the reason I tell you what I've lived, because I never want you to think that this journey, it just happens by happenstance, or that God is not a magic fairy. He doesn't, he doesn't, he's not a genie. He doesn't grant wishes. You don't rub on the Bible and make things appear. But there's a consistency in life that gives you the advantage. There's a consistency in you showing up that gives you the advantage, that allows you to be seen even when people try to bury you and try to keep you in a dark place. Your consistency, your service, your showing up allows you to be seen in such a way that things will be broken off of you and opportunities will open up bigger than what you could have even prayed for. Bigger than what you could have even prayed for. More powerful than what you could have even prayed for. I need you to have this understanding, because we get stuck in a routine and we get hurt and we hold on to that hurt, and then we go through life and we're in pain and we give that pain back out to somebody else. And it's interesting, because I even have people who will come to me and who will say, with everything that you've been through in life, in business, everything that you've been through with people blocking you and talking about everything that you've been through, how are you still able to show up? And in my response was normally, it's just part of who I am. But in all actuality, it's how can I not show up? How can I not show up? Because if I don't show up, then it all dies. It all fades away. If I don't show up, if I don't show up, then I'm that person who could possibly fall into depression. If I don't show up, see, my showing up is me showing the enemy that he hasn't won. It's me showing the enemy that he doesn't have the victory. God gave the victory to me. And when I show up in spite of, then I show him every day what you thought was my lack is just another reason for me to love. What was my lack, what was my pain, is being formed into my purpose. What was my test, whether I failed it or passed it, is my testimony. And so it literally transfers into something greater. So it doesn't matter what he sent you. It doesn't matter what you tripped over, what you stumbled upon. It doesn't matter where you quit. It doesn't matter where you were in pain, because guess what? It's meant for something greater. I don't know if y'all caught that this morning. I don't know if you're catching it, but you need to get to a point where you just continuously show up in spite of. You continuously show up in spite of it all, because your consistency creates open doors. Your showing up unlocks the prayers, the answers to the prayers that you've been praying, the questions that you've been asking. Your showing up unlocks that. And so I pray that God does something phenomenal in your business, in your brands, in your families, in your relationships. I pray that he does some phenomenal things in your life, that this repositioning literally puts you into a headspace that you show up in spite of, that you serve your way through. That's your affirmation for today. I will serve my way through. Mm, 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 mm. I will serve my way through. Whatever it is you're going through at the moment, I will serve my way through. It doesn't matter what they told you, I will serve my way through. Look, sometimes it's come on, the chastisement, that hurt, that pain that God allows to push you into making moves that you would have never made otherwise. You would stay stuck. But it's not for you, what you went through, but it was for someone else. I need y'all to keep showing up for yourself. It doesn't matter what somebody did. It doesn't matter what yesterday looked like. I need you to keep showing up for you. Because when you show up for you, unapologetic, it's going to change something for somebody else. Mm, mm, mm. Thank you, Michael, for sharing the broadcast. I appreciate you. And it is showing up consistently that will shift everything that you've been asking for. And this is the thing. Some of you put stuff down on paper and you did a vision board, not this year, but you did a vision board last year. And your consistency in showing up will help you to manifest what you put on your vision board last year, what you thought God had forgot about. which you personally stopped dreaming about. There's something you had on your vision board from 2 years ago. 2 years ago. That you forgot about. It'll come back to you. Because the two businesses that he's talking about, one of them was written down in 2019. The other one was written down in either 2017 or 2018. Good morning, Grand Rising. One of them was written down in 2019. The other one was written down in 2017. Here it is, 2020, and God said, move. Your service is not being overlooked. Because even when man does not see you serve, God still sees your service. Your level of service is not being overlooked. Because even when man does not see or acknowledge your service, God sees your service. God sees your service. I need y'all to be consistent in your serving. Be consistent in your showing up. Because it is that consistency that will shift something for you this week. It's that consistency. That consistency will shift something for you this week. I don't know. Again, like I said, I'm working off of a couple hours of sleep. I've been in prayer and praise all night long. I just keep going back to what he was saying and what he was speaking over me, and just how God was literally just he fell. The Holy Spirit just fell so heavy. I think his broadcast was like 2 hours long. He kept saying, okay, I'm gonna end the broadcast, and then something else would drop. And he said, okay, I'm gonna end the broadcast, and then something else would drop. And when I tell you that thing was like 2 hours long. I pray that you do not get weary in well doing on this journey. God is going to ask you for some sacrifices. God is going to ask you to sow some seeds. God is going to ask you to show up in places that you've never shown up before. God is going to ask you to serve people you've never served before. God is going to ask you, he's going to put things before you about it this week, next week. He's going to put things and opportunities in front of you for you to be able to sow in such a way that it's outside of what you've done previously, but he's going to put you in a place to be able to serve and sow. And when you do so, it is going to elevate not just you, but somebody else. And this is your moment that it will break. I pray that the same way that it dropped for me last night, in the same way that it broke for me last night, it will break for you. Something I'm always saying is that literally people that are connected to me, I pray for you consistently, because I do not take it lightly that you show up for my classes, for my programs, that you show up for the things that I do. I do not take it lightly. I pray for you consistently, because that is a seed. A seed in the ground. When you share out a broadcast, when you like just the things that we think are like don't matter, but it's the simple things, because we never know how it's going to affect somebody else. And so you sharing out a broadcast can put somebody in front of somebody who needs what it is that's being said. You going and leaving a comment can be the comment that somebody who was watching the video needed. Like, you never know exactly what your presence is going to bring. And I think that's because we devalue ourselves, and we really don't see the value within who we are, just our presence, our time, our words. our finances. We don't see the value in it. And when we start to see that value, which is crazy because at the beginning of the year, wow, look at God. At the beginning of the year, my prayer and my confession for everybody who was in World Voice League was that you would start to see your value, and that not only would you see it, but you would start to live up to your value. And in living up to your value, that means that I won't just put my money anywhere because my money has value. I won't just spend my time anywhere because my time has value. My words, I'm going to be very deliberate about where I'm sharing my words and who I'm sharing them to, because my words have value. And so in leveling up to that value, your service is a part of that value. So wherever you serve, you are presenting value in that space, and it's needed. Look, come on. Showing up in hurt, OMG. It is a struggle sometimes, but I believe that greater is coming. Just hang in there. I know it to be true because God has called me in a different capacity to serve as a minister. Who would have thought that this would be the direction He was taking me? So I know that you are talking truth. You got to have that understanding. And you got to go through some things to get to that point. So, however He is telling you to serve, serve. However He is telling you to show up, show up. However He is telling you to sow, sow. Do so in such a way that it blows your mind that you're doing it. But it's a seed in the ground, guys. Man, it's a seed in the ground. And when it's a good ground, there will be a fruitful harvest. It will not be like the fig tree. It will be a fruitful harvest. It will not be like the fig tree. Mm. Whew. I want y'all to be consistent in whatever it is you need to be doing for this week, next week, this year, next year. Be consistent. Show up in spite of. Show up in spite of, because it is going to break something for you. Show up in spite of. Serve at the capacity that serve at the capacity that you want to be served. I don't know who that was for, but I hope they got it. Serve at the capacity that you want to be served. I'm thankful. I'm thankful. I'm blessed. Thank you for everybody that has sown in me, that continues to sow into me, continues to sow into my business. Thank you for every person that has signed up for a program, a class. Your seed will bring back a harvest. Man. So I had to bring that to y'all today because your consistency matters. Here it is. It's someone that somebody that saw me online, and I think we connected years ago, but it was my consistency. Mm. Greater things are coming. Mm. Greater things are coming. Mm. I appreciate y'all, and I want y'all to make sure that you go and gain access to the even more that's coming. I don't take it lightly that you guys come and join me in the morning. I don't take it lightly that some of y'all are at y'all desk at work listening in. I don't take it lightly because I'm here to serve. Mm, 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 mm. Continue to show up, guys. No matter what, continue to show up. Unapologetic. Continue to show up. I appreciate you guys. You have an amazing Thursday. I'm going to attempt to get some rest so I can get some work done. But make this the time that you serve, you show up serving. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have an amazing Thursday. And until next time, don't forget to press it out. See ya.